Hi and welcome to this tutorial on Adobe After Effects. In this tutorial we're just going to be looking at some of the main windows and panels in After Effects, and this is going to lead us into our very first After Effects project that we use a Photoshop file. So to start off, over in the top left corner you start off with your project window. This is the window that holds all the footage. So this can be Photoshop files, it can be video files of any resolution. You could also do Adobe Illustrator, files, JPEGs, anything you can bring in here. So all of the footage that you want to use, all of your material. If you just right click in this area, we can go to File, Import, and I'm going to just grab a video file right here. Now when it comes in, you'll see that it gives us some information, tells us what kind of file it is, how big it is, duration, where it's located. I can just move my panels back and forth by grabbing the little line in between the two windows. Now I can take this can AVI, alright, and I'm just going to drag it down into my timeline. Once I do that, I automatically am making a new composition. Okay, so now I have the can AVI inside of the can composition. Now this large window that we just got a nice big black screen on, this is the composition window, and here is where our footage is sitting. Okay. Down below we've got a timeline, and the timeline shows you the duration of the composition and where you are in time. So as I grab my little handle right here, this is my CTI, my current time indicator. Okay, I can slide back and forth, and that is adjusting where I go in time. So the beginning of this video is at 0 seconds, and we actually have some black at the beginning, so we don't even get any video until about 5 seconds there. It pops up at about 6 seconds. At 6 seconds, 1 frame, and then as we go through we can play the entire video, and I think it probably ends at around 30 seconds, and then it's going to fade out to black again. There we go. Okay. If you want to go to a specific area, you can move your current time indicator to exactly where you want, or you can type the number into the timeline window, or you can even type the number in right here, because this is the piece of footage that we're using, so you can type it in right there. In your composition window you have a few things that you want to look at. Number one, right now I'm looking at this at 100% magnification. I can zoom in, okay, if I want to get really close to something, or I can pull back out if I have lots of stuff going on in my composition I don't need to see it. I can also change the resolution that the computer's rendering it at. So right now I'm at full resolution, but if you want things to go faster, you can reduce that resolution, and this is going to use less RAM in your computer. It's going to make your computer just work quicker. You don't always need to see everything in perfect high def when you're making titles fly around or adjusting some things. So this can be something that really helps you out, especially if you have a computer that doesn't have quite as much memory, quite as much RAM. For now I'll keep this at full, or maybe I'll just drop it down to half. So that's your time slider. Now you can take a look here. In the can AVI we have a little triangle bar, okay, and when you hit that triangle it opens up some of the properties for the can. Right now the only things we can do to the can are transform it, and by transform we can adjust where its anchor point is, we can change its position, scale, rotation, or opacity. Currently those are the default things that every layer can have, and currently this can AVI is one layer of the video. Okay, if we were to add a title over top, that would be another layer. If we were to add I don't know, credits at the end, maybe that would be another layer. Now a couple important things that you should look at. Number one, when you bring your can into your project window, it's not actually copying the file into After Effects. It's just using a reference of that file, and it's referencing it from its original location on your computer. If you move it, rename it, or delete it, it's going to be gone from your After Effects window as well. And the next time you open up After Effects, it's going to give you a little symbol saying, hey, this media is offline. So one thing you have to make sure of is you got to organize your projects in your project window, but you also have to organize them on your computer. Make sure you put a lot of your stuff in the same folder. This is just going to help your workflow a little bit. Now up in the top left corner here, we also have a few important tools. The most important one right now is just this selection tool. With the selection tool you can grab elements and you can move them around. Okay, so for example, this is the position of this video. By default, it's going to be centered, and it's going to fill up the whole screen. But if I wanted to, I could change maybe the scale of the footage, and I could have it sitting in the top corner. Okay, these are transforms, so I could scale it and I could position it. I could even make it move from point A to point B. Let's just undo that a little bit and we'll move it back to where it was. Last thing I want to show you before we sort of move into the real project is safe titles. And right down along the bottom of your composition window, you have this little area here, title safe and action safe as guidelines. These white lines are called title safe and action safe. The inside one is title safe. I don't know how much it applies anymore, but in the days of different television sets and different broadcasters, you would have to make sure that anything really important, like titles, have to stay inside of that interior white line. If it was outside the white line, it's a chance that it was going to get cut off. I think this had more to do with the technology of the day than anything else, and I don't know how much it applies anymore to newer television sets. That doesn't mean that somebody's not watching your video on an older TV, though, especially if this is going out to TV. Same thing with action safe. You want to make sure that anything that is particularly important that the viewer has better see, you want to keep it inside of action safe zone. If it falls outside of that, there's a chance that it might not show up on screen. Okay, and so that's just something that can sort of help you make sure you know exactly where everything is. Lastly, you can also turn on a grid. Okay, and a grid is very helpful for if you're doing some detail work. It allows you to remember exactly where you are. Okay, now this grid isn't going to show up in either of the title safe zones, but they're helpful for you to use if you're doing any manipulations. Okay, so I think for now that's about it. Those are the basics that we're going to need to know. Composition window, okay, that's where your composition is. Your project window, and that's where all your files are, and your timeline. And don't forget, you can have your CTI, and your CTI can move around, scrub back and forth, and you can scrub through your video. Okay, check back for my next tutorial, part 2, and we're going to be importing a Photoshop file into this and adding some keyframes. Thanks for watching.